Hi YouTube, welcome to Pagan Perspective. This is Wednesday and I'm your host Megan. Hi YouTube, welcome to Pagan Perspective. This is Wednesday. I'm your host Megan, aka Sept, and today we are talking about an article called Rewilding Witchcraft. So I read this article, actually the whole thing. It is really long, and it's funny because the beginning of the article talks about this idea that Wicca, witchcraft, paganism, all of it has become watered down in some way. However, that's not the actual message that the article is trying to give by the end of it. So in some ways I feel like it was a very poorly written article because you think at the beginning it's trying to say one thing and then it completely shifts its focus and it says something totally different in the latter half of the article. Now the real point of the article is actually talking about basically giving up and to our eventual extinction. Let me explain. So what it talks about is basically the environment. It's talking about the rewilding movement, so to speak, that is getting different animals and plant life and things back into the wild, trying to reintroduce things so that we don't have as many species going extinct. The article states that by 2050, half of the planet's species will be extinct. 50% of all the species on Earth right now will be extinct by 2050. I haven't checked this information. I don't know if that is a correct statistic or not, but it is a kind of a scary statistic when you think about it. And when you think about the fact that we are losing like 200 species a day, it is really scary. In particular, a lot of rainforest species that live, like a species of ant that lives only in one tree in this one part of the rainforest, things like that. So the majority of the species we are losing are plant life, but primarily insect life, because there are so many types of insects. However, that's part of our ecosystem and it's essential. We're also losing other species. I mean, there are different mammals that are so close to extinction, it's really inevitable at this point. So really that's what the article is talking about. It's talking about sort of this idea in that we are dying and that it equates us to human species right now, the entire Earth, as being in some sort of hospice environment. This idea of just accepting our eventual death, that we have a terminal illness that at this point, because of industrialization and things that we have done, there's no going back, that the mass extinction event is coming, it will happen, they're predicting it in 50 to 300 years, and that we're going to be gone, everything's going to be gone, and that we need to accept this. So it was actually quite depressing reading about it. That's sort of the one take on it, and then I think the other take is at the very beginning of the article, it talks about this idea of that witchcraft has become watered down. And it does this by talking about how there is now the internet and how people have access to so much information from the internet that they don't actually seek out traditional forms of witchcraft and paganism. And in doing so, the author says that we get something called dark fluff. And that is that many people who seek out information on the internet, according to this author's opinion, this is not mine, I'm just summarizing here, that people who are looking to find witchcraft, looking to find paganism on the internet are drawn to the taboo and to the forbidden, and so they find some of the more, quote, dark practices that have been put up by different people on the internet, and they make a hodgepodge and a mix of this and form some sort of witchcraft or some sort of spirituality out of it. And that really it amounts to fluff in a lot of ways because it is such a hodgepodge without any foundation, without any root. So that is what the kind of the first part of the article talks about, while the second part basically says kiss your bleep goodbye because we're all going to die. And I mean, 50 to 300 years, I mean, the author suggests that it's kind of stupid to even have children because of the way the world is right now. And okay, yeah, maybe if it's 50 years, I see the point. If you're bringing a kid into the world, everyone's going to go extinct in 50 years. Okay, yeah, but what if it's 300? I mean, that's a couple of generations. And personally, you know, there's a lot of life that can be lived in 50 years, and there's a lot of things that I could be doing. So even if that is the terminal case, then okay, I'm still going to live my life to the fullest. I don't necessarily know if that's the case or what's going to happen, but I'm one of those people who would rather just not know and just live what I can as best I can. So when it comes to rewilding, I guess in not the environmental term, but this idea of bringing witchcraft back to its roots, for me personally, my own pagan perspective on it is mine can't really get any more back to its roots than it already is. I'm a hereditary. It hasn't changed. It is how it is. It's passed down. It's as pure as it can be. So for me, it is where it is. Now I can see for others where the internet is the only source, how it has been a little bit watered down. I like, though, the idea that it's also recreating itself as a new spiritual path. And maybe that's okay. I mean, I kind of like the idea that we are changing and evolving with the times, and maybe this is breeding a whole new form of spirituality. How good is that? That's awesome. Is it different than traditional witchcraft? Absolutely. Is there anything wrong with it being different? No. I think that differences should be celebrated, and we should always be looking to change and evolve. And if that means that the craft is going to change and evolve and be more accessible to more people and be able to have a positive impact on more people's life, then hey, let's do this. So one thing, though, that came up in all of this today, because I almost didn't make this video, and let me tell you why. I had a moment before I actually read the article when I thought that the whole thing was on rewilding, was like, you know, getting darker to your roots of witchcraft, which turns out that's what you think the article's about, but it really isn't. It's about, you know, us all dying and just kiss your butt goodbye. But when I thought the article was this idea about, you know, getting to the nitty-gritty of witchcraft, right? I kind of was all excited because I had an experience today, happened to me, that I was not very happy about. Someone stole my card information and decided to go on a spending spree on some UK websites and ship it to a French website. French address. And it was some MMA fighting equipment, a bike, and some running shoes. But needless to say, it took a huge chunk out of my checking account. Big problem. I was pissed, needless to say. I was royally pissed. And so when I thought about doing this video, I'm like, Rewilding Witchcraft? You betcha, here we come. Like, I was pissed. And I was ready to, like, unleash all sorts of torrents of not so good. You don't piss off a hereditary witch, let me tell you. You don't want to do that. And I had to take a step back because really it's important for us to not go down that path. So I needed to kind of breathe and regroup, and I thought, what a better way than to kind of maybe vent a little bit through the video and talk to you all about it and find my inner peace and my inner calm about it all. So, and needless to say, people like that who believe that they are entitled to something that you've worked for them to think that it's okay to take from you, it really, it strikes me so deeply that it brought me to tears most of the day. So this has been pretty horrific for me, and I'm so upset that I can't even tell you, you know, how hard the day has been. But when I think about this idea of the article and sort of just accepting death, in a way, it would be like me just accepting that this person took everything that I've worked so hard for. And hell no. Hell no. I am not going to do that. I'm not going to roll over. I, you know, did everything I needed to do, canceling everything, you know, it'll all end up working out. I really feel like this idea of rolling over and just accepting that we have destroyed the environment and we've destroyed the earth and there's absolutely nothing we can do is really fatalistic. And to me, it's giving up. And so I say, let's take a last stand and let's say, no, we are here. We are part of nature. We are part of the divine, and we will survive one way or the other. And, you know, this idea of watering down of spirituality, I don't see it that way. I see it as a new evolution. And are we ready for it? Are we ready for the new evolution? And my answer, I think so. So that's it for today, guys. I hope that you're having a great week, and I will see you next month. I think next week is subs week. And until then, guys, as always, blessed be.